Chapter 33, Interlude A. The wind was blasting her like the outflow of a jet engine as her seat was sucked out of the gash in the side of the plane, her hair whipping around wildly and the pressure forcing her to squint. She reached for her dad and saw his horrified face for just a moment before she dropped away and the obstructing dark clouds obscured the plane. Her stomach had dropped straight out of her body as she felt herself accelerating, screaming, arms flailing at first, but then white knuckled, locking on to the one solid thing in the vacuum, her seat. I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead. The clouds above her were briefly illuminated in orange above, near where the plane should be. The chair started to rotate laterally as she fell. She looked down and had to squint her eyes hard against the rushing air, but could see only more dark clouds. The air pressure blasting her caused her cheeks to flutter, smacking against her gums. Then the clouds started to lighten, and suddenly she was past them into the open air and she could see everything. She was over a vast ocean. The plane had been traveling directly towards a horizon-spanning line of brown and white that separated a black ocean just below her from a blue one ahead. She could see a few islands in the blue area, but nothing near where she was going to land. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. The chair continued to rotate until she was upside down. Now that it was closer, she could see that the brown and white line was actually an edge of the higher elevated blue water. A waterfall the length of the world. Brown rock formations poked out in places around the edge, sometimes occluded by the huge cloud of water vapor kicked up by the crashing water. As she dropped, the blue ocean and even the giant waterfall seemed to get further away, miles away. She looked in every direction for any signs of land, but there was only dark water, barely reflecting the orange light of the sunrise as far as she could see. The water was approaching fast, and as she reached parallel with the top of the massive waterfall, she squeezed her eyes shut. Dead. Everything quieted. The noise and pressure of the wind abated. Her stomach settled. She no longer felt like she was falling. She was scared to open her eyes as if it would break the pause. What the? And then she felt her elbow hit the water. She opened her eyes as the rest of her slowly followed, lowering down into the warm tropical ocean. First, she flicked the clasp on the seatbelt, releasing herself, and then she grabbed at the cushion. She had already been planning to go for it on the way down if she survived. Does it come off? With just a bit of pressure, it came free, and then she kicked for the surface, flotational seat cushion leading the way. Her head broke the surface, and she gasped. She clutched the cushion against her chest with both arms and looked around. The dark water around her seemed to reject the orange light of the sunrise, only returning a brown muted orange color from the peaks of the calm surf around her. She thought about the horizon-length waterfall. That can't be real, she thought. Am I dreaming? She willed herself to wake up. Nothing. She pinched herself hard. Ow. Nothing. She decided she would just wait to wake up. Sometime later, she was bored. So, what do I do? She said out loud. She lifted her head out of the water and could see where the waterfall kicked up the vapor cloud in the distance. Try to get to the waterfall? When she was in the air, the dark ocean didn't seem to have an end for as far as the eye could see. She wasn't sure if she headed deeper, she could reach anything before she died of dehydration. If there even was anything to find that way. Maybe behind the waterfall I can find a ledge or a cave or something? Probably not, she thought. It would take a while to get there. She started swimming. She quickly realized swimming on her stomach while holding the cushion was ungainly. She swapped to her back so she could hold the cushion with both arms and propelled herself with her legs. She didn't go fast, just consistent, mild swinging of her legs, conserving her energy. The monotony allowed her mind to wander, and she couldn't help but think about the vast body of water below her. Is this the kind of dream where I get attacked? It better not be. Now that the thought was in her head, she started thinking about sharks and other predators that lurked in the oceans. The water was so dark she couldn't see more than 3 feet down. Her own feet disappeared from view whenever she straightened them out. She would never see one coming, whereas she thought it would be easy to see her from below, highlighted by the surface sunlight. She tucked the pervasive feeling of dread into a corner of her mind and decided to focus on other things. Welp, they get me. I die, I guess. She thought about her dad. She couldn't believe she had finally agreed to go on this trip with him, only for him to be on his phone for work the whole time again. Mom had warned her that might happen. She sighed. He wasn't a bad guy, but she had resigned herself long ago to the fact that he wasn't reliable. He was too addicted to work and he couldn't understand what he was doing wrong. That was the main problem. That because he didn't see the problem, he would never change, which meant he would just keep repeating the same mistakes over and over. Her mom had told her that was why she left him, when she realized that he would never change. Anna actually felt bad for her dad. In some ways, he was a victim of his own brain. Something in there prevented him from changing, doomed to repeat the same mistakes that ultimately would leave him alone. That's why she had agreed to go on this trip. She had talked with her mom, and they both agreed there might be a chance, given that he had finally met his financial goals, for him to finally move forward. Neither of them thought that chance was high, though. So when he did take the work call, Anna's world wasn't shattered. She was just disappointed she was right. After what felt like hours, the waves had increased to a few feet. It was actually kind of fun to go up and down, and she thought she heard a dim crashing noise in the distance. Has to be the waterfall. Finally getting closer, she thought. Then her nose breathed in a whiff of something foul. Ew. Smells like rotten eggs, she thought. The temperature of the water got noticeably colder, and she saw bubbles rising to the surface all around her. Some she felt hitting her back. The dread that she had tucked into the corner of her mind broke free. She froze, clutching the cushion tight to her chest, eyes looking to either side of her. Wake up, wake up. The waves around her flattened until the surface of the water was a perfect mirror, still as a frozen lake. The temperature of the water was now chilling her. She involuntarily shivered. Wake up, wake up. A darkening shadow fell over the entire placid surface of the water. From below, wake up. As it rose, she could start to make out the details on the part just below in her peripheral vision. It appeared to be a convex, smooth surface of brown, leathery flesh. Skin. Past that surface, the being continued, and she could see no end to it in any direction. Wake up! Wake up! Eyes wide, she couldn't look away. Her arms trembled as she compressed the cushion against her chest so hard they started to cramp. Its unmoving surface was then broken by a faint flutter. Recognition hit her panicked brain, and she realized what it actually was. Oh God,